All right, for texture, this is pretty basic. It's pretty similar to the added detail. Um, but if we have, a base layer here, um, whatever the material may be, especially if it's like a fabric or a carpet that actually has um, some texture to it, it's pretty easy to come back um, and add some texture to it um, with kind of a stipple kind of pattern, um, especially with like a carpet. If you come back and just add some stippling, um, you can create some texture pretty. Oh, you don't even really see that very well. You can create texture pretty easily and pretty quickly um, with just a simple stippling technique. And I'm going to exaggerate this a little bit so you can see it. But by adding just some stippling with 30% over the 10%, um, I'm giving this surface some texture. Okay, and we can achieve texture with gradual value change. Um, we can achieve texture with striping. Um, there's lots of ways to achieve texture, but stippling is by far, I think, the easiest. Just giving it a little bit of dimension. And again, if we let that kind of dry, we can apply a layer of color on top of that. For instance, here's my lilac. Okay, and you can just see that. I mean, even the overlapping lines where the marker is overlapping and then drying, creating those vertical lines, that gives it a little bit of texture, right? What we don't want is just something that appears completely flat. Even though right here, this is just a flat surface, having that a little bit of the the base color of the white paper coming through, some of the quicker strokes of the marker, and having those strokes overlap, that just gives that just a little bit of interest. We're not trying to um, color in a coloring book and trying to stay completely within the lines and create it as evenly and as accurately and as simple as possible. When we have variation and contrast and gradual value change, then our drawings really start to become interesting. Okay, but yeah, that's the gist of it. Another thing that you can do as far as adding, and I'm going to come back here with 10% and darken this a little bit, or at least part of it. Let's get some gradual value change going. And let's just go ahead and do the purple again. If you really want to exaggerate the texture, you can use, or actually kind of back to the added detail, you can come back with a pen and reinforce, some of the edges. We can clean up edges. We can reinforce them. If we have a straight edge, we can make this box a lot more regimented. It's not so sketchy. But we can also come back with the pen and add detail as well, and texture. the stippling with the pen. If you think back to our principles of good graphics, the dots, you know, we can add, let's see, seems like it shows up a little bit better when the shadow of my head is on it. It's not quite as washed out, but you can add texture with additional marker points. You can use pen, and you can use colored pencil as well to create the different textures. So anyway, hopefully that'll help you as you complete your assignment this week. But yeah, have fun, and let's start adding some color and dimension to our renderings.